Hello guys, this is Russian American Renaissance in Victoria, 3 p.m. in the morning. It is December 1st, first day of winter. I guess I look kind of tired, but I got up really late, so I decided to go shopping and also talk a little bit about education in America and education in Russia. I made a video at the University of Washington. It's not such a great video the way it looks because I had to make it during the nighttime because I didn't want to pay $15 for parking in the daytime. Yeah, I'm cheap. I'm a cheap woman. So I'm not gonna spend $1 for this YouTube channel, so I'm sorry. But I was trying to think because I've met with a group of people learning Russian, and we went to a bakery in Washington State in Everett. It's called Katya's Bakery. I'm going to make a video about that too. And those were really great two people. They wanted to learn Russian. We made a great progress. We had a good conversation. And I was thinking maybe at least for them and some other people would be interesting, just kind of my opinion about differences in American and Russian education. As usually, I struggle for trying to look like I really look in normal life, but on camera, as I said, I always look kind of weird because body parts are like strange, not the way I really am. Body parts. Okay, so main thing that I have noticed in American university, I think I'll try to make like 4 or 5 points what I liked about American education and Russian education and what I didn't like. So in American university, some classes have so many people that it's really difficult to make friends when you have like some classes with 500 people, and of course everybody's from a lot of people are from different cultures. Sometimes it's difficult to make friends just because university needs to make money, and the university looks really fancy compared with majority of Russian universities, not all of them, but overall obviously a lot more invested in architecture and the way university looks in America, and while in Russia it's usually just kind of a building, just very functional, 4 walls, and you sit there and you learn. In America I feel like a lot of desire to look like a Roman Empire or something like this, like everything is so huge and ceremonial and impressive and big, some sort of very ambitious architecture and very ambitious architecture. Oh my god, I'm good. And in Russian universities, in majority, at least in my university in Kaliningrad, University of Immanuel Kant, I felt like it was a lot more simple. But my university used to be a Protestant cathedral or a school or something like that. After it was rebuilt after the Second World War, it used to be a German city after it became a Russian city. So just the way university looks, obviously American university is much more impressive, big, much more organized, a lot of directories, how to find this place, how to find that place. Food is not a lot of choice. It's mostly bagels, donuts, a lot of bad food. I wish there was more choice for European and Russian students, especially because for Asians it's all taken care of, but for European students, like if you want some soup or something more like from your culture, you have no chance to find it at the university. It just does not exist. That was kind of sad. And when I graduated from the university with all of that food, I gained 20 kilograms. I lost it recently, but I think it should tell you a lot about how much improvement university campus really need in terms of quality of food. More salads, more soups, more healthy foods. That is really not there, and it's not promoted, and I didn't like that. But okay, that's something that you can fight with. You probably can try to make your own salads and something, but for me it was a little difficult because sometimes I didn't really want any of that dry food, typical American food, which is good, but when you eat it every day, for me it was like death. I started having stomach problems. My abdomen hurt a lot. Sometimes I couldn't sit in the class. I needed to get up because I had stuff going on with my stomach during the school time because I was nervous, and also food was not for a Russian child, honestly. So, and next thing, yeah, in the Russian university, as I said, there was a better choice. You could get a soup or mashed potatoes with a piece of meat. You could get a salad. So it wasn't that much, but overall, food choices were better and healthier in my Russian university than it was here. Um, Next thing that I paid attention to, the content of the education, because I went to the Department of History. And history department, of course, it's a lot of very romantic humanitarian kids, and I guess we were probably a little different different from kids from maybe a physical training department or physics or chemistry or business school. We were probably like all dreaming about kings and queens and how they were all marrying, and somebody was on a white horse marrying some, whatever. You understand what I mean. That's the kind of person I am. And I had a feeling that content of the education and content and history classes was really, really good and rich in American university, because every class, it was a lot of preparation for a professor, because we had all these slides, and we could see certain elements of history, certain objects, pictures, art, music. So I felt that that part was just much more superior in my American university, because you felt really involved with the professors thinking, because you could see what they see. They might show you a lot of pictures. They might show you some replicas. So certain elements of that historical time that would really help you to have more, like, deeper understanding. I don't remember us having very much of that in my Russian university. That part I really wish was a little more developed. That would help students to know more, to know better, and just in general to be more educated and visual about history that we were learning. Because you can listen to a professor, but when you don't see what it's all about, you kind of start disconnecting from the conversation. So that part, great job, America. So another thing that I've noticed, that if we're talking about Russian university and Europe in general, of course, overall students really want to be a lot more sophisticated, and they just want to learn a lot of random things for no reason, just maybe to look really good at the party or to say something smart and interesting and impress people. While I feel like in US overall it's a lot less common. I'm not saying there are no sophisticated and smart and really cool guys and girls, but overall this desire to be sophisticated, a lot smaller, a lot weaker in American students, in my opinion. So people maybe just look at any kind of education in a lot more practical way, in my opinion, but I don't know. I really don't know. So Next thing that I have noticed about American University, of course, I really like friendliness. Students are very friendly. If you ask a question, people will always show you, people will help you. Most of students very responsive, and in my Russian university that was okay, but there might be some mean people, and maybe I'm kind of mean too. I don't know if I'm super friendly. Maybe I'm not friendly. I'm a Russian kid after all, so I have all of these issues. So another thing, let me analyze. Okay, I talked about the content of education, like some brief comparisons. I talked about the friendships. Yes, I felt like in American university, what was kind of difficult emotionally for a European student, that most of Russian and European kids were not really into athletics and sports as much as majority of American kids. I felt like everybody is always checking what's going on with a local basketball team or soccer or something else. And I don't feel like Europeans really care about that part. Like, I mean, sometimes if it's a really big championship, international championship, yes, everybody in Europe is crazy about it. But if it is just a local team, people are like, why should I spend time for it? That kind of, I think, didn't allow me to make very many friends at the university, because I just was not able to imitate and pretend and simulate interest to something that doesn't make me interested at all. It feels like faking enjoying certain interaction. You know what I'm talking about? It's like, I don't want to pretend. If I don't enjoy, I don't enjoy. So, so that was kind of a really funny part of it. And uh, in Russian university, I felt like there that really wasn't a problem. You could be a football or soccer or basketball but it's not something that really would make you included or excluded or whatever. But here in US, it's like so much merchandise. Oh, I like this basketball team, I like this, like I'm just really not understanding why it is so important. I mean, it's okay, but obviously in Europe there is a really small number of people that cares about this stuff, while in this state it's like almost every kid is really super like zombie patriotic about sports, like zombie patriotic, like Seahawks, Seahawks, Seahawks. I mean, I have nothing against it, kind of, but I'm just really not able to understand it. But it's just my mind works this way. But overall, the experience was really good. A lot of amazing teachers. I remember especially Professor Charity Urbansky, Medieval History, University of Washington, Seattle. She was amazing. I took most of her classes, and that was just really like watching a movie. It's not a person, it's a movie. You can't stop watching her. And another professor I really loved was Professor Belmer. He used to teach modern European history, I think like from 19th or 18th century to 20th. And he was really amazing. He really liked me. Every time when I was entering the class, he was playing classical Russian music, Tchaikovsky or Rachmaninoff or something like that, Shostakovich. And that was really supporting me, because anyway, I've been here for a long time, but I'm a Russian kid. Sometimes I'm homesick. I have emotional days. I have, just, these kind of things. But University of Washington, please get some European foods, get some Russian food, become a little more inclusive, because you guys are great. but you only sell Asian food and fast food. And kids graduate really large because they don't have time to cook. They just eat what they see. I guess that part would be really good area for improvement. I really hope it was better because I would be okay with just eating salad and mashed potatoes and then little piece of meat the way I used to in Russia instead of like those bagels and 500 calories Starbucks coffees with 50 grams of sugar. I'm sorry, that's too much. So yeah, that part really was killing me. It was. Um, but also, what else was interesting there? Well, that's kind of like my general overview of things that I really loved and things that really irritated me. Maybe I will remember something else. Can I remember something else? Well, another thing that was kind of a little difficult is that professors, compared with Russian university, professors were never really taking much initiative to connect to you in order for you to possibly continue your career in that field. Even if they saw that you're really ambitious and you like what you're learning, that part was difficult because maybe that's the way it is in America. If you don't ask, nobody answers the question, right? But for a Russian kid, it's like you really want your professors to be like, hey, I really like how you do really good in my class. What about doing a paper together about this or about that? This is what a lot of professors in Russia do. They initiate communication with a student, understanding that you're a young person and it's hard for you to take the first step. And I don't think that for American kids it's any easier than for a Russian child to take a first step and initiate communication with a professor at the university because you're still a child. You don't know how. So those are two things that I think would be really improved at the University of Washington. First, food for European students. Second, communication with professors at the university, maybe for them to try to take more initiative. Because I graduated from the university, I decided not to do masters and I do something else, and I'm happy with my job and my life. But who knows what it would be if a professor reached a hand to me and said, Vicky, you seem like you're really interested. Do you want to talk sometimes? Or seems like you have above average interest in my subject, and just that kind of small talk. Who knows? For somebody, it would be a life changer. So those are just my rants, but it's not just a rant. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying there are good things, there are bad things, because I'm not really into positive thinking. I think you need to have positive thinking, but you also need to be critical. You need to be critical of what's going on around you. And when people are like, oh, everything is good, everything is fine, nah, 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 I can't communicate with this kind of people. And I also don't like people who always complain. And I know Russians really love complaining. And I do sometimes, but I'm really balanced. If something is good, good. If something is bad, bad. I'm just a very honest person. So guys, if you have questions about the University of Washington, about my experience, maybe about language learning, because I meet with people just to learn some Russian and learn what they know about my country, because one day I might have kids here and it's my responsibility as a person to represent my country partially, maybe just one person, but for somebody I might be a person that changes opinion about my country. And looking at me, people just might start thinking a little deeper about certain things. So So it's just a good day, good rainy day in Seattle. Everything is great, and I feel just like I'm a little bit useful for somebody, helping people to learn something. And just ask your questions, or if you want to leave a comment and I will get back to you. I can add you as my friend on Facebook or on Vkontakte. That's a Russian version of Facebook. um, just if you're interested to communicate, you have questions, you're welcome. So this is Victoria James, Russian American Renaissance, and you guys have a good day. Bye bye.